morning to all my veterinarians, all vets out here. I, Dr. Nitin Bhatia from Intas Animal Health, take the privilege of welcoming all the participants who have joined us from different parts of the country and also from Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia, to name a few. We are aware that online platforms have given us an opportunity to meet, share, and learn and being at the place where we work so with comfort without traveling far off places we are able to attend the talks of eminent speakers. Let me once again say that this webvet, which is a webinar series of intas, is the 10th series coming up. We are happy to share that intas animal health during the covid pandemic and the lockdown has organized more than 100 webinars with professional associations like ISVS, ISAR, VIPM, ReadyVets, Tanwas, and Hyderabad University. And to name a few, we have a long category of the same. Today, as you all know, we are here to share an important topic on balanced nutrition for production to reproduction, especially in terms of dairy animals. Nutrition, production, and reproduction are the fundamentals of the dairy industry and the bovine rearing across the globe. Nutrition, as we all are aware, plays a major important role and impact as well as the economic component of dairy industry. A balanced nutrition is yet the key for the best health of the animal and minimizes various reproductive disturbances and optimizes production. To discuss with us on the same, we have Dr. Sijan Sihak, the principal scientist and head Department of Animal Nutrition, Lurwas Hisar. Dr. Sajan is a doctorate in animal nutrition with 26 years of hands-on experience in the field of research, applied nutrition, dealing directly with the farmers, the students on both ruminant and non-ruminant nutrition. Dr. Sujan has published till date one book, more than 100 research papers, organized several training programs for UG, PG students, farmers of all the streams like dairy, poultry, pig, delivered various radio and TV talks, and also organized seminars for the benefit of farmers as well as the scientific community. Dr. Sihak has spearheaded four research projects of IECAR and KVK. During his research work, he has been working on new and alternative feed sources for evolving better economical ration for livestock, adapting various agro-industrial products, working on various phytogenic herbs so that to improve productivity in animals. He has also been a very extensive worker on the role of bypass fat, its importance into the bovine industry. Dr. Sewag has been bestowed with Dr. S.P. Arora Outstanding Research Award by Society of Animal Nutrition, Best Research Award by Lurwas University, Best Research Paper Award by Society of Veterinary Science and Biotechnology. Let me once again welcome Dr. Sajan Sihag for an insightful session on balanced nutrition for the livestock production and reproduction. We are going to start the session now. Kindly note on the right to the live video, you will have a query box. You can post in your queries anytime during the session, and my colleague Dr. Vijesh Gupta would be happy to assist your queries to Dr. Sijan after the session has concluded. Over to Dr. Sijan for an insightful journey for all of us into bovine nutrition for better production and reproduction.
Good morning, Dr. Nitin Bhatia. Good morning, Dr. Raja Mukherjee, Dr. Jesh Gupta, Maruti Mudgil, Dr. Kishore Kumar Sharma, Dr. Amanjot Singh, other ENTAS team, and all veterinary surgeons, veterinary officers, veterinary scientists of different university. Today, I, Dr. Sajjan Shihag, Principal Scientist and Head Department of Animal Nutrition, Lala Lajpat Rai University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, is here to talk about the balanced nutrition for production to reproduction. Like human beings, the dairy animals needs a balanced nutrition, which comprise of different nutrients, fluids, different minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients which are required and which have a direct impact on the growth, production, reproduction, and health status of the animals. And it has been noticed that the cost of the feeding has long been recognized as the major cost and the largest cash expensive in animal production. Therefore, today we will discuss about the balanced nutrition in different phases of the animal. Just first we will discuss about the general nutrition, then nutrition for the dry animals, nutrition during the parturition, nutrition for the early lactation, then nutrition for the mid lactation, and finally the nutrition for the late lactation. There are some economic characteristics of the dairy animals which are much related with the animal nutrition or nutrients required by them at different stages. That is the lactation yield. Lactation yield means that the total milk produced during a lactation is termed as the lactation yield. It depends upon the number of the calving, persistency of the milk yield, and frequency of the milking. Number of calving. It has been observed that the milk yield during a lactation increased by 30% from first lactation to fourth lactation. Thereafter, either it remains stable or decline due to the age of the animals. After calving, the daily milk yield increase day by day and it reaches its at its peak in 35 days. So the long persistency of the milk is required for getting higher lactation yield. Second is the lactation period. Lactation period is the day start from the calving and up to the dry period is the lactation period. The optimum lactation period for the animals, dairy animals are 305 days. And persistency of the milk yield. Persistency of the milk yield means that the highest peak milk yield is observed after 35 days of the calving, and it should be prolonged for long time so that the lactation yield can be increased. Then age at first calving. Age at first calving is one of the important parameter in the animal production. For crossbred cattle, the optimum age at calving is 2.5 years, and in case of buffalo, it is 3.25 years age at first calving. Because the feed have a major effect on the growth of the animals, and the body weight is recognized for the first age at calving rather than the age. Then service period. Service period means that days taken to conceive by the animal is the service period, and the optimum days for the animals are 60 to 90 days. If the service period is prolonged, then less calving number will be there and ultimately the life production will be less. But it has been observed that the service period will be affected by the diet of the animals. Then dry period. It is a very important part of the lactation cycle because it gives rest period to compensate the stress of the production, and when the animal is pregnant, then it will help to development of the fetus. And if the animals are dried, means to stop milking for 2 to 2.5 months, then the milk yield in next lactation will be more. Intercalving period. Intercalving period means that the period between the two successive calving. It will be beneficial if a cattle give one birth to a calf at 12 months of the interval, and in case of one calf should be received from the buffalo within 14 months. Then reproductive efficiency. If the number of the calves throughout the life is more, then its reproductive efficiency is more. The animal should take more feed to get converted into milk, that is the efficiency of feed utilization. Then what is the significance of balanced nutrition? Balanced nutrition keep the animal in good health. It will improve the growth of the calf. It will reduce the pubertal age, as I have already told that the weight of the animal is a dominant over the age of the animal for the pubertal age. Then it improve the milk production and quality of the milk. Then improve the reproduction efficiency of the animal. Then reduction in the calving interval, and it increase the productive life of the animal. In addition to this balanced diet of a animals will avoid manifestation of deficiency disease and immune compromised state of animal. And also when we are giving a balanced nutrition, then the methane, particularly methane emission is very less from the animal and nitrogen excretion is reduced so that the animal can get absorbed more nutrients, and ultimately the net profit of the livestock enterprise increase by balanced feeding. In opposition to the improper, the growth will be less, it will delay the pubertal age, milk production will be less, and it will reduce the fertility and productivity, shorten the length and longer calving interval which will be there, and ultimately lower the profit to the farmer from the dairy enterprise. So the balanced nutrition must be there in every stage of the animal. Then first regarding about the general nutrition of the animals. In general nutrition of the animals, there are two type of the feed stuff which are fed to the animal. One is the categorized as roughages and second is the concentrate mixture. Under the roughage part, there are two again sub-classified as dry roughages, green roughages, and in concentrate mixture, energy sources, protein sources, mineral mixture, common salt. In addition to this, some of the supplements are also provided in the concentrate mixture to get the better result from the animal. And it has been seen that the every feedstuff are equally important as the other. For example, dry roughages. What come under the dry roughages? Dry roughages are wheat straw, rice straw, sorghum straw, maize straw. These are the some dry roughages which can be used for the animal. Though they have very little amount of the nutrients, means they provide digestible crude protein to the animal about negligible, but some amount of the energy is provided by these roughages, but they have some significance in terms of they increase the effective fiber in the ration for improved rumination. They desire to increase rumen fill and slow the rate of passage of digesta from the rumen, and they also satisfy the hunger of the animal and make the ration cost effective. These are the some significance of the dry roughage must be fed to the animals. Then second part of the roughage part is the green fodder. Green fodder has a significance in the diet of the animals. First, they form a bulkiness of the ration. They are good palatable. They are digestible. They have high amount of the water in there. They have a lot of juices which not only provide the some enzyme to the animal but also increase the digestibility of the dry roughages, and they are main source of the fibrous carbohydrate which are well utilized by the animals. And it has been observed that they, if the protein or energy is supplied through the green fodder, they can reduce the cost of feeding up to 35% as compared to the concentrate mixture. They are also good source of the mineral like calcium and iron, and rich source of the vitamin A, E required to maintain the optimum fertility of the animals. Milk and milk by products of the dairy animals fed on green fodder are rich in conjugated linoleic acid, which has major health in human being. Then energy sources. Energy, they are major source of the energy. Though they contain little amount of the protein, they contain less or equal to 10% of the protein, but the major part of the energy is there, which is provided to the animal by using these energy sources. These are all type of the cereal grains: maize, wheat, barley, and oats. These are the some cereal grains which should be added in the diet of the animals through concentrate mixture to provide the energy, because they are less in protein content but high amount of energy in terms of the metabolizable energy or TDN is there in these grain. If one want to make the ration economic, then undersized grain can be used in place of the sound grain. They are equally good effective as good as sound grains. This university has carried out several research on the use of undersized seed grain in place of the sound grain, and it was noticed and it was revealed that they have good amount of the energy as good as the sound grain. Then these are the some protein sources which should be added in the concentrate mixture. These all are oil crops cakes like groundnut cake, GNC, good source of the protein, contain high amount of the protein. Then mustard cake, also good source of the protein. Cottonseed cake, cottonseed, soybean meal, and DDGS. One thing is here I want to mention that DDGS is a new protein source for the large ruminants, and this institute has explored DDGS. What is DDGS? Dried distillery dried grains with solubles. These are byproduct of the distilleries. When after extraction of the ethanol from the cereal grains, the byproduct remains is known as the DDGS. As I have already discussed that all the cereal grains contain less or equal to 10 to 11% of the crude protein, and their byproduct DDGS, it contains near about 45 to 50% of the crude protein, which can replace the costlier item like GNC, mustard cake, and cottonseed cake to make the ration economic for the large ruminants. Then some of the agro-industrial byproducts should be incorporated in the ration of the animals. They are providing some of the energy as well as the protein in addition to making the ration economic, like wheat bran product from the wheat flour mill, then gram husk, rice polish, rice miller will provide you the rice polish, de-oiled rice polish, guar churi, maize bran. These all are sub byproduct of the industry which can be used as a protein or energy source in the concentrate mixture of the dairy animals. Then some of the supplements like molasses. Molasses not only increase the palatability of the ration, but also incorporate some of the energy in the concentrate mixture of the animal. Then common salt, it equilibrate the ionic balance in the ration of the animals and increase the digestibility of the feed stuff in animal system. Then mineral mixture. Mineral mixture have several benefits fed to the animals. This help in growth and immune function of the young calf and good for utilization of absorbed nutrients and improve reproductive efficiency. This mineral mixture also improve the fertility rate, and the major problem with the dairy animal is of the repeat breeding, and this can be stopped by using the effective mineral mixture fed to the animals. In addition to this, they improve the milk production and help the reducing the inter calving period can be reduced by these use of the mineral mixture, and this also regulates the acid base equilibrium, and importantly they are constituents of the skeletal structure, prevents the metabolic disease like ketosis, milk fever, hematuria. Then under the general nutrition, this is a ideal ration for the dairy animals. If the animals, buffalo species is giving 10 kg milk and cow species is given 13 kg of the milk per day, then this is a ideal concentrate mixture for the dairy animals. Means we can use 40 parts of the cereal grains. Any type of the cereal grains can be incorporated 40% in concentrate mix. Similarly, any type of the cake like GNC, mustard cake, cottonseed cake, sunflower cake, or soybean meal can be incorporated up to 35%. Then agro-industrial byproduct in terms of wheat bran, rice polish, maize bran, and gram churi, we can add 22%, and by incorporating mineral mixture 2% and common salt 1%. This is a ideal concentration which is sufficient for a animal yielding 10 kg or less milk yield. If the animals are high yielder, then what should be done? In this 100 kg ideal ration, we have to incorporate 10 kg of the cotton seed cake. If the cotton seed is not available, then we can supplement this 100 kg ideal ration with 2 kilogram of the vegetable oil. If the animal is producing 13 kg of buffalo and 18 kg in cattle, is producing milk, then this ideal ration must be supplemented with either 10 kg cotton seed or 2 kg of the vegetable oil, so that the density of the energy will be more and it will meet out the energy requirement of the animals. If still the animals are giving more milk, then we have to supplement this ideal ration with 100 gram bypass protein and 150 gram bypass fat for buffalo and cattle per day per animal. These are the specifications for the concentrate mixture fed to the buffalo at different milk yield. Then feeding schedule. This is the ideal feeding schedule for the animals, and it has been we have seen that in case of the buffalo, against each 2 kg milk production, 1 kg of the concentrate mixture should be given to the buffalo. In case of the cow, at every 2.5 kg milk production, 1 kg of the concentrate mixture should be fed to the cow. Means if a cow is producing 10 kg milk, then the concentrate mixture fed to the buffalo will 6 kg, 5 kg for its milk production plus 1 kg for its maintenance ration. And similarly, in case of the cow producing 10 kg milk, then the concentrate mixture will be fed at 5 kg rate, 4 kg for the milk production and 1 kg for the maintenance of the animal. Then if producing more milk, then add 500 gram concentrate mixture per kg milk production in buffalo and 400 gram concentrate mixture per kg milk yield in the cattle. If we are providing large amount of the concentrate mixture to the animal for high producing cattle or buffalo, then these rations should be supplemented with 50 gram sodium bicarbonate per day in high yielder as a rumen buffer. Then come to this was about the general nutrition for the animals. Means we have categorized the ration into two parts: roughage, concentrate mixture. Roughage have dry roughage, then the green roughage, then concentrate mixture. Some part come from the energy source, protein source, mineral mixture, supplement, and then rumen buffer, and how we can formulate a ration for the 10 kg milk production or high milk production. Then start from the second is the what feed should be scheduled for a dry cow. Dry period means 60 to 14 days before parturition. This dry period is a very critical phase of the lactation cycle, because uh, this is why we are drying to the animals. First is that this will increase the milk yield in subsequent lactation. This will decrease the metabolic problem during the parturition or after the parturition. Then what is the reason why the animal should be dried? The principal reason for drying animal is the to involute the udder, because during the udder involution the secretory tissues they break down and they resolved, and the new cell of the secretory cell will be developed for the next lactation. So dry period must be there. There will be less production of the milk if the animals are not dried optimum. Then fetal development. During the dry period, the main function is the fetal development. During last 56 days of the parturition, the fetal developed its birth weight around 60% of total weight. Therefore, it is necessary to dry the animals for better development of the fetus. Then replacement of the body reserve. During the lactation period, most of the nutrients, particularly minerals, deplete from the animal body, and this is the time that the animal can replenish the deleted part of the nutrients by the feeding. Then ration, how we can formulate the ration of the dry animal should be formulated for maintenance, fetal growth and additional body weight of the animals. Then during this period, the extra nutrients in last 2 months of the gestation should be provided to the animals to make the animal enable to withstand the stress of parturition, to maintain the persistency of the milk production in subsequent lactation, and the increase in the nutrients should be through the concentrate mixture, not through the forages, because feeding of the concentrate mixture are effective to increase the body weight of the animal as well as in the development of the fetus. And green feed should be fed during last 2 months of the gestation to provide the sufficient amount of vitamin A in the colostrum during the next lactation. Then during the dry period, how we can formulate a ration? The total dry matter should contain 12% of the crude protein in the dry matter of the dry animals. Then calcium and phosphorus should be provided at the rate of 60 gram and 30 gram respectively. Adequate amount of the vitamin A, D and E should be provided to the animal for the improvement in the calf survival and to lower the retained placenta and milk fever problem. And during this period, some amount of the rumen undegradable protein should also be provided for the better fetal growth. Then after change to the transition ration, before 2 weeks of the calving, we have to change the ration by incorporating more amount of the protein sources. That the previously the minimum requirement for protein was 12%. Now we have in last 2 weeks of the before calving, we have to increase the protein amount by 15%. And then animal should be fed the concentrate through the challenge feeding. Challenge feeding means to explore the maximum genetic potential of the animals. The before 2 weeks of the calving, the animal should be provided 1 kg concentrate mixture per 100 kg body weight. However, when 2-3 days of the calving is remaining, parturition is remaining, then only boiled warm bran should be fed to the animals, and the concentrate mixture should be stopped to make the ration laxative condition before the calving. Then some complications are there during the dry period near to parturition, that fetus acquire most of the abdominal space. Therefore, they reduce the size of the rumen and rumen papillae. This decreases the digestibility of the feed, and if the digestibility of the feed is decreased, then the demand of the nutrients increase, and the density of the protein and energy should be increased in the diet of the dry animal, so that it can get all the energy and protein requirement through the ration. Otherwise, there will be an increased gap between nutrients and demand. Then this is the slide showing that in prepartum period, due to the increased size of the fetus and decreased size of the rumen and rumen papilla, there is a high demand for the fetal growth, colostrum and milk production, and less supply due to lower ruminal space, energy deficient diet stress. Therefore, how we can cope with the negative energy balance? We have to supply such an energy booster which can provide the energy to the animal to come out from the negative energy balance. Then key indicator of the net energy balance is what are the symptoms when the animal is under negative energy balance? Drop in milk production, refusal to concentrate, loss of body condition and body weight loss, and acetone smell will be there in breath and milk of the animal. Then what is the clinical negative energy balance which cause the ketosis? When the energy supply feed intake is less, then the energy supply is less to the animals. When energy supply is less to the animal, then propionic acid produced will be less, and it will called hypoglycemia. During the hypoglycemia, the fats from the body will be mobilized to the liver, where they will be oxidized into the acetyl CoA, and if the acetyl CoA is formulated, then they will be converted into ketone bodies like acetote and beta hydroxybutyrate, which cause the ketosis. These are deposited and come through the urine or milk. Then how we can get off from this ketosis? We can provide this energy booster, which is a gluconeogenic precursor and supplemented with also nicotinamide and cyanocobalamin. How it function? This will prevent the ketosis and reduce the intercalving period, augment the milk production by enhancing the availability of the energy to the animal, and uh, the energy will come back in the positive balance of the energy by supplementing this type of the supplement. Then during parturition, animals have several challenges like psychological stress is there in animal, then depressed feed intake, then there is the other development and change in physiological stage. So at the time of the parturition, for 3 days, the animal should be provide light, palatable and mild laxative ration, boiled rice, wheat, and including bypass fat, jaggery and methi should be provided for 3 days to the animal. Then regarding the calf feeding, at the time of the birth, the colostrum feeding should be done within hour because it contains large amount of the protein as compared to normal milk, as compared to whole milk. It contains 17% of the protein as compared to 3.5% in the ordinary milk. Major portion of the protein are globulin in nature, and globulin contain immunoglobulin MGA, which are antibodies and help the body system fighting against disease. And they are also, colostrum is a good source of vitamin A, D, E, and mineral calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, and phosphorus. Help the calf to resist infection and aid in skeletal body formation. This is somewhat laxative in nature, which evacuate the accumulated fecal matter in the calf system. So colostrum should be fed within hour after the birth. Then early lactation. This was about the how we can feed the dry animals, that the dry animal should be fed a ration having at least 12% of the crude protein, and before 2 weeks they should be fed a ration which have 15% of the protein, and the ration should be laxative, and it should be supplemented with the energy booster so that the negative energy balance may not occur in the diet or animal system of the dairy animals. Then during early lactation, this is also a critical phase. In early lactation, just after calving, the milk production increases very speedily and it reaches maximum yield, that is known as the peak yield, at 35 days after calving. During this phase, just after parturition or calving, the dry matter intake decreases, which cause shortfall of the energy and protein, and during this animal loses body weight because the protein also diverted toward the mammogenesis and also diverted toward the lactose synthesis of the milk. Though so there is a animal body losses, how we can prepare the ration for such animal? Feeding during lactation, how we can formulate a ration for such type of animals so that it can produce as per its genetic potential. Feed intake is the key factor in maintaining high milk production. So the animal should be encouraged to more intake of the feed, because 1 kg intake of the feed can produce 2 to 2.4 kg of the milk production. For such animal, the protein content should be 14% if producing less or equal to 12 kg milk, and 16% crude protein if producing more than 20 kg of the milk. Then the ration should contain 16% of the crude protein. And energy of the diet can be increased by adding or by feeding full fat oil seeds like cottonseed or soybean. Energy can also be increased by supplementing the concentrate mixture with fat or 4% or oil at the rate of 4% in the concentrate mixture of the animals. The roughage of such animal should be of high quality. They should not contain more than 40 to 45% NDF. I means that the wheat straw contain around 55% of the NDF. It should be mixed with the either hay or green fodder when we are feeding to the high animals. However, the crude fiber content should be there 17 to 18%, and ADF should be 21 to 22% in the ration of the high yielder, because the high yielder they consume more amount of the concentrate mixture. So to avoid the acidosis and low milk fat of such animal, we have to maintain the crude fiber and ADF level in their diet. And it is also recommended that do not feed more than 3.5 kg of the concentrate mixture per feeding, means the frequency of the feeding should be increased for a high yielding animals. And other feeding strategy for such animals are that feeding frequency. Increase feeding frequency, which will maintain the rumen pH and increase the fiber digestion. Then feeding sequence. In feeding sequence, first we should feed the forages followed by the concentrates. Then these are some the early lactation challenges. What are the early lactation challenges? During early lactation, the increased nutrient demand. There is an increase of the nutrients due to increased milk yield speedily from the first day to up to 35 days. They increase the milk yield, hence the nutrient demand will be increased. And in other way, the dry matter intake is less in this period. So how there will be a there may be a productive disorder, and ultimately the farmer can get lost. Then this is the graph showing that the dry matter intake is less, but the milk yield is increasing progressively. So this show the gap between the supply and demand of the energy. How we can cope up with this demand? We can fed the animals bypass nutrients to meet out the high demand of the protein and energy during the early lactation. However, previously it was told that we can add vegetable oil to increase the energy, but there is some limitation that when we are adding the raw oil, vegetable oil directly, then they can kill the rumen bacteria and reduce the fiber digestion and produce the trans fatty acid, which depress the milk fat percent. So if we fed the animal through bypass fat, it will it has a high melting point. It will not degrade into the rumen, but it will directly absorbed through the small intestine to the animal system, because it is insoluble at rumen temperature and it has no harmful effect. And the bacteria digesting fiber will not be adversely affected if we are feeding rumen bypass fat, because it is not intervening with the bacteria of the fiber digestion. It bypasses the rumen and it directly goes to the abomasum for absorption to meet out the energy requirement of the animals. Then how it act? Reduce the because if we are feeding high amount of the concentrate mixture, then rumen will be acidotic. Rumen will be there. These are the starch digesting bacteria, and fiber digesting bacteria will be killed if we are producing directly giving carbohydrate directly either through grain or through the raw oil. But if we are feeding the bypass fed, then the number of the digestive fiber digestion bacteria will be more as compared to the starch digestion bacteria. So therefore, what are the effect of the this bypass fat? This will formulate the more balanced ration, increase the density of the ration, and reduce risk of ketosis, fatty liver syndrome, increase the milk yield and milk quality, improve the reproductive efficiency, and minimize the body weight loss after calving. So we should fat a bypass fat, like this pharmaceutical limited has prepared a Fatomax, which is a good source of the bypass fat, which can be supplemented at the recommended dose, that is 200 gram of the bypass can be supplemented per animal per day to maintain the milk yield of high yielder and to explore the genetic explore of this type of the animals, along with the reduction in risk risk of the ketosis and other disease, metabolic disorders. Then second thing is we were talking about the bypass fat, that why we should fed the bypass fat for negative energy balance. When the animals come under the negative energy balance, if we provide the carbohydrate or energy source through the grains, then its fermentation, it takes the fermentation and acidosis may be there in the rumen of the animals. Secondly, if we are providing the energy through the vegetable oil, then this vegetable oil will directly hinder the crude fiber digesting bacteria. So digestibility of the feed stuff will be less, and it will have no effect on the milk yield, because it will not increase the milk fat or milk yield if we are providing raw vegetable oil. So therefore, bypass fat should be given to the animals if it is high producing animals. Then similarly, bypass protein. What is the bypass protein? Generally, the protein come from the feed stuff. First, the crude protein will be hydrolyzed in the rumen by providing the by excreting the ammonia, and which is used by the microbes, and there will be a microbial protein which is engulfed by which is absorbed by the animal. So if we are giving rumen degradable protein in high amount, then it will produce ammonia, and it can be released through the liver by synthesizing the urea, and it can be excreted in the feces. So if we are providing bypass fat, the energy losses will be energy losses will be less for the animal, and it will be directly absorbed in the blood system in small intestine. Then what are the benefit of the feeding bypass protein to the animals? Reduced dietary amino acid loss as ammonia and urea. Because if we are feeding the rumen degradable protein, then first it is converted into ammonia, then it is microbial protein. If the ammonia is excess, then it will synthesize for the urea, which is excreted in the feces through nitrogen. So if we are feeding the bypass protein, it will be directly absorbed, and there will be less loss of the ammonia and urea. Increase availability of the amino acid supply. It conserve energy through less urea synthesis in the rumen. Means first, when the animal break down the protein in the rumen, then it required some energy for breaking down it into the amides or ammonia. So there will be loss of the energy. But by feeding the bypass protein, it will not require breaking. It will directly go through the bypass, and it will bypass the rumen, and it will be directly absorbed. Then efficient protein synthesis increase the growth rate and ultimately improve the reproductive efficiency of the animal. There are some of the feed stuff which can be used in the concentrate mixture as a bypass: blood meal, fish meal, meat meal. These are the some good source of the bypass protein which can be used in the concentrate mixture of the animal. Then some of the intermediate protein source: cottonseed meal, linseed meal. These are the intermediate bypass protein sources. And it is also well fact that the farmer use cottonseed meal or cottonseed cake or cottonseed. They reported that the milk yield is more, and the fat percentage of such milk fed the cottonseed meal is also more, because they contain high amount of bypass protein, as well as cottonseed also contain more amount of the bypass fat. So the result come to increase the milk yield as well as the milk yield and quality of the milk. So we should feed the bypass protein and bypass fat to the animals if it is high yield. Then feeding up to this was about the initial lactation, early lactation. What we should feed? We should feed a diet containing more than 16% of the crude protein. We should supplement it with the bypass fat, and we should supplement the ration with the bypass protein. Then feeding up to mid lactation. If we observe that after 70 days to 140 days, what should be fed and how we should formulate the ration for the mid lactation of the dairy cattle. Feed intake is in during this period. the feed intake increase and it come up to 4% of the body weight. Then concentrate to the animal should be fed 2.5% of its body weight. It is maximum. Maximum means 2.5% of the body weight should be fed concentrate mixture, and minimum 1.5% body weight should be fed forage to maintain the rumen function and normal level of the milk fat. During this period, the protein content of the dry matter of a feed should be 14%. And to maximize the nutrients intake during this phase, feed forages and grain several times. Frequency of the feeding should be increased for maximum nutrients intake. And we can add urea at the rate of 1% of the total dry matter, or we can say that 100 gram of the urea can be fed per cow as a NPN source. Then feeding mid lactation to 305 days postpartum, late lactation, mid lactation to late lactation. This phase will be the easiest to manage because during this period the milk production is declining and the feed intake will be increased. So this can be handled very easily. Concentrate feeding should be at the level to meet milk production, because already we have discussed that against 2 kg milk in case of the buffalo, 1 kg concentrate mixture should be fed having around 17 to 18% crude protein. And in case of the cattle, against 2.5 kg milk production, 1 kg concentrate mixture should be fed during the late lactation period. And young cow, during this phase, if the lactating animal is growing along with the lactation, then 20% during first lactation and 10% during the second lactation of the total dry matter intake should be increased through the concentrate mixture for its maintenance as well as growth. Then NPN source can be supplemented as a protein source during this phase of the lactation. Then this was about the late lactation, how we can feed the animals during the late lactation. That dry matter intake increase and the body weight can be increased by feeding during this period. And this is about the feeding summary during different phase of the dairy animals. Energy in the ration during early lactation, it should be 75% the dietary dry matter. Here 75% of the dry matter means that the energy to the ruminants is provided in terms of total digestible nutrients. That during the early lactation, total digestible nutrients should be at least 75% in the ration of the animal during early lactation. Similarly, in late lactation, there must be 65% total digestible nutrients in the ration of the animals. And during dry period, it should be 55% TDN. Then regarding the crude protein during different phase of the lactation, in early lactation, total crude protein content in the ration should be 16 to 18%, in which 40% of the protein should be rumen undegradable protein. During mid lactation, it should be up to 16% and 30% should be rumen undegradable protein. Similarly, in late lactation, 14%, and during the dry period, it should be 12%. And fat, if we are adding the fat, it should not exceed 7% of the dry matter of ration. Otherwise, acidosis may cause during if we are providing more amount of the vegetable oil. Then regarding the common salt, 1% of the concentrate mixture should be common salt, and mineral mixture should be added at 2% of the concentrate mixture. And urea, if we want to add the NPN source as a urea, then 30% of the urea can be incorporated of the concentrate mixture, or 1% of the total dry matter intake. And the animal during different phases should be supplemented with the vitamin, particularly supplement vitamin A, D, E in the ration to meet the requirement. And the ration form should avoid fine chopping of the forage and concentrate to maximize the nutrient utilization in the animal system. These are the some supplements of the Intas Bufogen, which is a Roman buffer. I have already told you that the sodium bicarbonate should be fed to the animal when we are feeding high amount of the concentrate mixture. Bufzone is also a Roman buffer which can be fed to the animal. And similarly, some E-booster, and this is the Kal Shakti, means calcium source, liquid calcium source, which should be fed to the animal. These are the some product of the Intas Pharmaceutical Limited, and which should be supplied when and even when required. I am sincerely thankful for joining this webinar. I am once again thanks one and all to join this seminar. क्या करें अब?
Sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful session and we have got a wonderful insight. I would rather say that you have shared your all length of experience with our vets during this webinar, and definitely this session will give a lot of insight in tackling the nutritional aspect in field practice by many of the vets. And we have got wonderful queries also for this webinar session, and to take a few, I would request you to take up the questions. I'll tell you the questions which has been asked by a few vets regarding this webinar. One question is, sir, dose of mineral supplement to the high yielders, and what should be the right dose of mineral mixture if we are giving to high yielders?
Yes. To high yielder, 80 to 90 gram mineral mixture should be provided per day per animal if the animal is producing more than 20 kg of the milk.
Okay.
80 to 90 gram mineral mixture.
Right, sir. And then there is another question by one vet. He is asking, like, normally we are depending on nutrient standards published by some international countries. So rather we should have our own. So he requires, like, on which data he should rely for Indian condition, which are the best nutritional standards which we can rely.
Okay. In the year 2013, ICR has published the nutrient requirement for the cattle and buffalo. So we should rely on the ICR recommendations. They have published a bulletin on ICAR 2030 feeding and feed requirement for the cattle and buffalo especially. So we should rely on them. And we have formulated the concentrate mixture and other diet at our own this dairy of this institute, and they are giving better results. So we should rely on the ICR specification or recommendation as a feeding standard for the cattle or buffalo. ICAR 2000, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, 2013 publication.
Right, sir. I think definitely this will help. Doctor, let us follow this 2013 ICAR recommendation. I think this is our own published data and this is meant for Indian condition. Now coming to next question, sir. This is regarding high yielder. The question is how we formulate a feed of cow having 60 liter of milk. I think 60, there is typo error. It should be 30 to 40 liter. And management of transition period means high yielder animals transition period management and ration formulation, and which will minimize the feeding cost and also prevalence of mastitis and foot lesions, because he is observing that there is foot lesions and increased incidences of mastitis in particular form. So what kind of transition management feeding should be followed?
Okay. In case of the high yielding animals, regarding the supplement, regarding the feeding of the roughage, if possible, then we should feed the roughages as a hay, leguminous hay. If we have leguminous hay, then they will provide some amount of the protein and energy along with the dry feed stuff. In addition to this, we should use the cereal grains, 40% cereal grains, and we should include the multi-source of the cake like soybean meal, GNC, cotton seed, and then we should add the cotton seed also or oil. Oil, 2% of the oil can be incorporated, and in this, in addition to 10 kg of the wheat bran should be used in the high yielding. In after formulating this type of the concentrate mixture and feeding the hay, and we have to provide 10 gram of bypass fat per kg milk yield. If a animal is producing 30 kg, so bypass fat should be provided 300 gram per day to such animal. And in other thing is here that the like the your pharmaceutical limited has a product e-booster. She recommended as per recommendation of a particular company, e-booster also should be provided to the high elder animal during the transition phase, means 21 days prior to calving and 21 days after calving. The animal should be fed such ration as I have already told you, that it should contain cereal grains, oil cakes, bran, and cotton seed or vegetable oil, mineral mixture, salt, and supplemented with the bypass protein as well as bypass fat.
Right, sir. Then another question is whether exogenous fibrolytic enzymes is useful in dairy animals. If yes, then what should be the dose?
Yes, exogenous enzyme xylase, cellulase, they can be used in the ration of the dairy animal to increase the fiber digestion. However, their unit still very less study has been conducted in India on the use of the enzyme. Particularly, we were trying, but due to non-availability of the some facility and staff, we could not conduct this experiment. But I have gone through several literature which is of abroad. They have told that the cellulitic enzyme, cellulase, oxalase can be incorporated to increase the fiber digestion for better nutrient utilization and absorption in the animal system for high yielding as well as growing animals. But the amount is still I don't know what should be the amount. It should be on the company or recommendation of the company who prepare this type of the enzyme.
Right, sir. There is another question. How long we will provide mineral supplement and oral calcium during pregnancy period of cattle? The question is means how long we should provide mineral mixture and calcium supplementation to animals?
Calcium supplementation should be provided, but recently it has been observed that prior to 21 days of the parturition, the mineral mixture should not be provided. Because if we are providing the mineral mixture in the diet of the animal just prior to parturition, then their mobilization from the bone is not there, and during the parturition a high amount of the calcium is required. So mobilization from the bone did not accelerate, and so we have recommended that the prior to 21 days of the parturition, the mineral mixture should be stopped. And we are going to research on DCAD also. Recently, we have submitted a project to work on the DCAD, that is the anionic and cationic differences. So it will provide us the more information that the DCAD should be provided instead of the normal mineral mixture prior to parturition.
Yes, sir. Related to that, there is a question: how to manage transition through nutritional management and how to manage DCAD through diet.
Recently, I was telling you that we have planned that the DCAD should be fed to the animal so that the ketosis can be avoided. and milk fever can be avoided. Particularly milk fever can be avoided. Decade system should be adopted, but still we have submitted a project to work on this decade. And otherwise, to transition phase, already I have told that during transition phase, what should be fed to the end.
Right, so there are so many questions coming in, and I'm sure that these questions will take the answers from Sajan sir, and will definitely revert back. One last question I'm taking: how can we control aflatoxin in milk? Because this nowadays this concern is also increasing, sir. How to control aflatoxin in milk?
Okay. Particularly the toxin come from the GNC or maize when they are stored at the high moisture content. If we fed the animals after processing, after steam treatment or after boiling, then the very less chance to come in the aflatoxins in the milk.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, which you have taken out for your busy schedule. And I am quite confident that your session will give a lot of insight to our field vets and their day-to-day practice. Thank you very much, sir, for joining to us. And thank you very much to all the vets out there.
Thank you, Dr. Brijesh Gupta, and particularly Dr. Nitin and all the INTAS team. Thank you once.
Thank you, sir.